EPA's mission! So today, guys, we're going to be saying every NFC team that I personally think will win the division. Let's go! Let's go, guys, for today's video. Anyway, so who will win their division in football? That's the real question. Side note, we are going to be saying all teams and then saying who will win the division from those teams. So, let's go! Boop, boop. Alright. So, the Philadelphia Eagles conference, which is one of the best in the NFL. Alright, so the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, the Washington Commanders, and the New York Giants. So the Commanders missed out on the playoffs when 3 out of the 4 teams made the playoffs. The Commanders did not have a horrible year. Their division was one of the best in the NFL. You cannot get mad. Although they probably would have wanted a better season, you could not get mad with the season they had. They did not have the worst of seasons. Their division is simply just goated and stuff like that. So, yep. Is their division goated? Yes. But could they have made the playoffs if they were better? And they did not need to make the Giants miss out on it? Definitely. So, the Giants, we need to talk about the Giants. The Giants were one of the best teams early on in the season. And then it turns out they didn't turn out to have the best of seasons, but they had a good seasons compared to the other seasons before. Therefore, they made the playoffs for the first time in a while. So the last time they made it was with a while ago, obviously, besides last year. Whatever. It has been a while. It has been a while. So, the last time they made it before last year was 2016. They clinched the playoff spot. The Giants finished 7-1 at home, their best record in the history of MetLife Stadium, and clinched a spot in the playoffs for the first time since winning Super Bowl. So, yep, we're going to be talking about that. And then we have the Dallas Cowboys, who always seem to make the playoffs, have made the playoffs every year since 2020, and besides 2020, I've made it for like the past 20 years in a row. But in 2020, their QB was hurt for almost all the season. Dak Prescott was hurt for basically all this year, so I'm not counting that in the record books. Although people will. Okay. And then we have the Washington Commanders. I already said that they could have made the playoffs if they were better than if the Giants were just a tiny bit worse. And then we had the Philadelphia Eagles. They were the best team in the NFC, got the number 1 seed, and made it to the Super Bowl. So this should be a no-brainer. Who is winning that division? This should be in the NFC East. This should be a no-brainer. It is the Philadelphia. Alright, next division is the NFC North. The Packers, the Bears, the Vikings, and the Lions. Woo woo! Alright, so I think the Packers are going. This might be a bold statement, but might be a hot take. But I have the Packers not even being in the first spot. The Packers are going into the 4th spot. I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFC North because the Bears have added people and they have just asked people. Aaron Rodgers, they got traded, and then now they have their quarterback that has never been on the field. He has been on it like once or twice, but he has at all on the field, so that is going to be a problem. He's going to have to work way more than all the rest of the players this year to even have a chance to throw for 4,000 yards. That would surprise everyone, but I know it won't happen. And then we have the Chicago Bears. I think they're going to make it to second or third. I think they're making it to third. Because I know they've been adding some great players recently. But sadly, when the Lions are supposed to make the playoffs and stuff like that, I don't think, sadly, that the Bears are going to be much higher than the third. If they are not the third, I think they're going to be the 2. So, I'm pretty sure they'll make it to the number 2. The number 2 or 3, I think it's 3. Sadly, because I said this before, but the Lions and Vikings, the Lions are supposed to make the playoffs. The Lions are supposed to be a good team this year. And then you have the Vikings, who had one of the best records in the NFC last year. Alright, so the Lions, I'm having at number 2, because they're expected to make the playoffs. They're way better than they are yet. Then they're expected to be way better at the start of the season than they are last year. The Lions proved at the end of last year they could make the playoffs and be one of the best teams in the NFL. But it's just that beginning of the year struggles that they proved. But they do have a tough thing in week 2 versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Alright, and then we had the Vikings. As you guys know, the Vikings are getting the 1. They went like 13-4. They went 13-4 last year. One of the best teams in the NFC rankings wise, at least. They got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. I do not personally think they're going to be that much of a threat. I mean, this is a team that has never won the Super Bowl. Me personally, I don't think they're going to be a huge threat. But they could be, who knows. And I don't think they're going to be a huge threat in the regular season, but in the playoffs. And salute to the Vikings fans. Alright. So, we're going to our third division. Alright. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New Orleans Saints, Atlanta Falcons, and Carolina Panthers. Alright. So, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be in my free seed. Wait, what? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be in my 4 seed. I get it. They still have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. But this is the team that just lost their QB. They just lost their QB, Tom Brady, to retirement. So, yeah, that's not good. And then, this is a team that had his son, Baker Mayfield. He's a great player. He was a great player for 1 or 2 seasons with the Browns, and then he fell off. He had a great rookie year, and then, he fell off. He did get a game-winning He did throw a game-winning touchdown against the Las Vegas Raiders, so shout out to him. They're doing that. But, I think Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be 4. At number 3, I have the New Orleans Saints. That might be a hot take, but I am taking the Buccaneers worse than them, but I don't think they're better than the 2 teams. Wait, yeah. I'm putting the Falcons at 3. That's my mistake. I just realized that the Atlanta Falcons have not been the best in recent years since that Super Bowl loss. In my opinion, they're just going up, but I still don't think they're going to be the best. I think they're not good. I think they're going to not have a better record than 8-9. I think that's their peak this year. I think that's what their record. That's not their peak. Their peak's probably like 11, 12 wins. But I think they're going to have 8 or yes wins. All right. So number 2, I'm having the Panthers. I get it. They just got a rookie QB, but that roster's looking good. I got it. The only reason they're at number 2 though is because they got the number 1 overall pick. In most divisions they would be 4 or 3 if they were in the NFC South. They would be in NFC North. That is the NFC South. If they're in the NFC North, which the Bears are in, they would definitely not be in the number 2 spot. But for number 1, I don't think there's any questions about it. New Orleans Saints are going to be the number 1 overall team. Yeah. Yes. And then for the final division in this video, in the NFC North, and the NFC, not the NFC North. Everything isn't about the Chicago Bears. Okay, Chicago Bears. Okay. We have the San Francisco 49ers, the Arizona Cardinals, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I think that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be a very bad football team next year. I think it's going to be 4. I don't think there's any, like, they're going to be, Kyler Murray's going to miss the majority, if not all of next year due to that ACL tear, which is, an ACL tear is one of the most bad things, or horrible things that can happen to a quarterback, especially a quarterback that plays like him. But it could happen, especially like a guy that plays like Kyler Murray, who runs the ball a lot. And then we have the Los Angeles Rams at 3. The Los Angeles Rams won the Super Bowl in 2021, but they had the worst record by a defending Super Bowl champ last year. But I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year, because they had a bunch of injuries last year. But I don't think they're going to make the playoffs either. But I still think they are way ahead of the Arizona Cardinals. But I don't think they're ahead of the top 2 teams in that division. At number 2, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks, great team without Russell Wilson. It was a smart trade. I think they blew us all away. We all expected them to be a bad team and not even be close to the playoffs. Have a top 2 pick, something like that. But they did have a top 5. They did have the top 10 because of that Russell Wilson trade. I think they're going to make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be a real threat in the playoffs. I think they're going to maybe win like 1 or 2 games. One at the most. I don't think they're 1 and 2. And then the final team in that division, and the final team in this video, the San Francisco 49ers. Honestly, you could put the Seattle Seahawks ahead of them if the QBs get injured like they did last year. QBs get injured like they did last year. I don't think there's any argument about the Seattle Seahawks being better, because Brock Purdy's going to be the week 1 starter, in my opinion, if he is healthy enough to keep that week 1 starter. The real question is, will he be healthy enough? That is the real question, though. But without further ado, that's the end of the video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Subscribe, turn on the notifications, get me recommended.